one thing that's changed is you're talking to somebody who's headed down a path, and that can be a really valuable position to get into. I had a lot of enthusiasm, but I think a lot of it was tied up in a lot of kind of coping strategies for dealing with uncertainty, and it can be such a hard age to figure out what's going to happen to you. I think you feel so like nascent in a way, like you're just blossoming into a person, and you don't know what that's going to look like. During the bridge and like a little bit before, I had applied to college and gotten into Colorado College, which is a liberal arts school in Colorado Springs. So part of my bridge time was kind of preparing for school. And then I went to school at CC for 4 years. I got a degree in English literature. Kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. Wanted to teach, actually. Did a lot of things gearing up, preparing to teach, possibly high school. Did like summer camps, some educational, summer camps in the summers. Even worked like marketing just to try it. Kind of was floating around for a while. And then when I graduated, I still was kind of in that place of uncertainty with what I wanted to do with my career. Now I'm at University of Oregon Law up in Eugene, Oregon, and I'm in my second year. Worked in immigration this summer, doing some legal aid, pro bono work, supporting juveniles in their immigration cases, and that was really amazing. And yeah, I mean, I love it. I didn't really understand why I was studying what I was studying, but I think something that changed was when I was like, hey, I'm fortunate enough to have graduated high school and have been able to go to college, and that's a really, there are a lot of routes through the world, but that's kind of a tried and true one, and it can be a really rewarding one. And so also, like, I would say that anybody who has ambivalence about school and what they want to do academically, I would say reach out, or at least in this video, give my recommendation or support behind trying as hard as you can when you're in school, because you don't know what doors it's going to open. It's always been a motivating factor to me ever since my time at the Bridge. Is like, I see people suffering, I read about the world, I take in the world, I see these inequities and unfairness and whatever, and I want to do something to address it. So finding a way to do that, to me, is super important. And that's I think why I believe in what I do ultimately, is that it's a way of taking in society and saying, hey, I'm going to tip the scales back a little bit. I'm going to do something that's going to change people's lives, hopefully. Yeah. If I do it the right way. And that's a part of mattering that I don't think I would be happy if what I was doing didn't have that element to it, no matter what it was. First of all, having a few work experiences that you can put on your resume is like invaluable. I still have some of those things on my resume when they're applicable to jobs. I mean, that's a very tangible thing, like the work aspect of it, and say, hey, I worked this job. I mean, for a lot of people coming out of high school, they haven't worked. So having a few things on your resume to get the ball rolling is like such a leg up. And there are certain life skills that I still am working on, cooking and cleaning and doing all your own laundry and getting up on time and getting yourself to bed. I mean, that are hard for a lot of people, that that are hard for a lot of people who work real jobs and who live in the world and who never have the chance to just focus on that. I mean, they're like, so many people, I think the Bridge allows you to slow down a little bit and say, hey, we're going to actually practice these things. You know, we're going to actually practice cooking. We're going to actually practice cleaning. We're going to practice working. And it is practice working. Like, you know, you're not working 9 to 5 usually. You're not working every day. You're practicing. You're going to work and you have literally the whole community in your as a resource, and you're like, hey, I want to practice this. And I'm sure if someone wanted to be a lawyer, you could find a lawyer and you could practice being a lawyer. And those skills, I mean, I talk about being like happy now in life, you know, and in law school. And a lot of it is because I'm finally able to take care of all those things. And those things I don't think should be underestimated as a part of a happy, healthy, full life. Like having lived in another country, even for a little, and even if it's like a really, I mean, Costa Rica is like such an amazing place in so many ways, which is great. But having lived somewhere else at least a little bit, and especially before college, I think I was very grateful to have that experience, and still am. Just any exposure to other cultures really broadens your understanding of your own. And we were like doing these patrol walks, and it was like in the middle of the night, and we were going to perform this play for this like elementary school. And I just remembered this, like I haven't thought about this in forever, but we had planned this play, and I still have some pictures on my phone of like people with their face paint, and like they were the toucans, and we were going to do this environmental play for this elementary school in Spanish. And I remember walking on the beach, just writing this play as we were like just like talking it out verbatim, and it was just such a fun kind of like silly thing where we're just walking in the middle of the night down this beach making sure that the sea turtles were safe and that nobody was going to come steal the eggs. And we were just like having so much fun recounting this, or writing this like silly play, and we're just laughing.
Well, you know, it's so I think you have another anecdote to share, but what's so cool about that, if you think about it, is that, I mean, yeah, I love your concept of practice. Like when you were saying that, I just felt such a warm feeling, because I love that concept. And what's so interesting is that this memory that you brought up, which you haven't thought of in years, you know, you're going to become an environmental lawyer. And so just like the fact that you were there, and like you weren't thinking about these kinds of things, but like you were in the project, and like you're doing, I mean, and we did a lot of work that week, but then we always had the post projects, and that post project was going and teaching elementary school kids here in Costa Rica about the protection of the sea turtles and so on and so forth. And I think you were the poacher or something like that in the play, and so it's just so funny that you're just playing, you're just practicing, but it turns out that there was something in there that we wouldn't necessarily say was the sort of your destiny in the making at the time, but just the fact that you allowed yourself to play and to engage in those interests, ended up in something that you're passionate about, and that became that path where you find meaning, where you find mattering. So I think that's super cool.
So we were at the outdoor mall, and I just remember having my face painted, and like just being in this big crowd of people, and they scored, and I think they beat like Uruguay or something. And we were just like jumping up and down like so crazy when they scored. And I still have the video on my phone. My hair is really long, and Ale's there, um, all the people that we were with, and it was just such a cool moment, and something I love to bring up when someone's talking about the World Cup or something. I was like, oh, I was in Costa Rica when they had like such a great run and they were in the quarterfinals, and I still think about, you know, some of the people I was still on the team, and so when they were playing the U.S. or whatever, I'm like, oh man, I kind of have that connection to like, I'm sure all those people are sitting there watching the game, and like, you know, it's going to be so big for them if they win, because here it's like, you know, people don't really care. Like, people don't really care about the U. I mean, some people do, and it's becoming more, but it's different, you know, because we have every professional sports league, but there it's like, that's the team.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So to have that connection to that moment, I think will always stand out in my mind. For me, the challenges that existed before the bridge, I think pretty quickly can come back once you leave. But that doesn't mean that you haven't been prepared for them at your time at the bridge, you know? Like, that doesn't mean that you can't handle them or you're not way better off. And I think especially now, like with this conversation, I can reflect and be like, wow, yes, there were times when I felt like I couldn't be any lower, and there were times when I felt like I was just super, I mean, I don't know, you know, like that the challenges and the uncertainty, and, you know, I can talk about it, but I think all that doesn't mean that like the experiences that I had and the things that I learned didn't really give me a leg up and really prepare me. But yeah, like, my final bit would be like, don't shy away from the difficulty in life, because a lot of meaning comes from the difficulty in life, and there's nothing that's going to take it away. There's nothing, like, you know, things that just take it away like that are things I think to be avoided, and they can still be like really intense times of discomfort when you have like a traumatic experience, or you lose somebody, or you have something go wrong in your job or school or whatever. Like, there can be really intense times of discomfort, and you're always thinking about them, and they're always there, but just that ability to like be a rock through it, I think, and just be a person, and just like say like, hey, my ancestors for thousands of years have dealt with really, really difficult things, and like, I can do that too. Yeah. I think it's a really satisfying. I think that's when you feel like an adult, is when you're like, you know what, I'm not gonna run away from it. I'm not gonna pretend like it doesn't exist. I'm not gonna do all this coping stuff. And it's not just like you snap your fingers and it's gone, but you work towards that, you know?